Hello, hi, welcome to Detail Bit Academy. In this playlist, we are going to know all about SQL. Before that, you have to understand what is the DBMS and history of the database management systems. In the 1960s, developer used to save the data in file-based systems. So they used to manually store in a flat files. And what are the disadvantages it is having is it is very rigid and lacked standardization and required extensive programming, which means for example, there is a university having lecturers, students, principal, and head of the departments. If the student data is present in all the records, I mean all the files in with principal, HOD, and lecturers. If the lecturer updated the data, but the data will not be the changes will not be reflected to the principal and head of the department files, so which means it doesn't have any centralization and the data is presented in three files having the lot of redundancy, and there is no standardization. And in order to get the data from the files, we are needed with lot of programming. So these are the disadvantages that routes with emergence of the DBMS. So in 1970s, EF Code introduced relational model in his seminal paper. So a relational model of the data for the large shared data banks. So he was the first person who introduced this, and from then the emergence of the DBMS has occurred. From there we have SQL, ODBMS, and then NoSQL, and many more. Let's see here. So after that, in the 1970s, IBM also developed SystemR, that is one of the first relational database prototypes. And then hierarchical and network databases gained prominence in these 1970s. Later in the 1980s, relational databases came into picture. That is, the commercial relational databases systems like Oracle, DB2, Ingress emerged. So, what is this SQL? We know that relational databases are nothing but data in the format of rows and columns. So, there is a language which need to interact with that these relational database. So that language is SQL, that is structured query language. So the relational database mainly focus on transaction management, concurrency control, and recovery. And then in 1990s, we will be having another type of databases. Those are object oriented and advanced databases. And emergence of warehouses came in these 1990s. And then next we have in 2000s, the internet is going vigorously. So at that times the data is unstructured and semi-structured. So in order to handle such type of data, we are needed with another database structure. So then this NoSQL came into picture. So NoSQL databases became popular for the scalability and flexibility. So emphasis on distributed databases and cloud-based database solutions. So big data and new paradigms. So the rise of data technologies like Hadoop, Sparks came in 2010, and we have here databases like Amazon RDS, Google BigQueries become mainstream in the 2010s. Later than now, we are having another database edges like AI driven and edge databases. Focus on AI driven database management, and we will be having another enhancement on security, that on blockchain databases also for decentralized storages. So this is about the history of the database. Now let's dive into the SQL. What is the actual meaning of SQL and all about it? So SQL is a language used to communicate with a relational database to perform the task like retrieving, updating, and managing the data. So this is the, again we have provided SQL standard abbreviation, and then it is used to perform the CRUD operations like create, read, update, and delete. So do SQL have any syntax? Yes, it do have syntax by following some commands as well as semicolon at the end. So it is a case insensitive, which means the commands that you use in a query can be lowercase or uppercase, but it is recommended to use uppercase for the easy readability. And next, key components, or we can say type of operation. We have DQL, DML, DDL, DCL. What is DQL? In data query language, we have particular this select query command, which is used to retrieve the data from the database. And DML, so data manipulation language. So here we have three commands: insert, update, delete. Insert it is used to insert data into table, update modifies existing data in a table, and delete removes the rows of data from a table. And what is this DDL? Data definition language. There we have three commands: create, alter, drop. So defines and creates a new database objects like tables or schemas by using this create. And alter. So here it alters, modifies the structure of existing database, and drop deletes the database like objects, schemas, and views permanently. So please don't get confused with update and alter as well as delete and drop. So those confusion can be cleared in this video also. So we have DCL, data control language. So we will be having two commands here: grant and revoke. Grant provides privileges to users. What is this privilege? Privilege is nothing but giving permission to users or roles for a specific operations on a table. And revoke is used to remove those privileges or permissions from the users. So what is the database? SQL starts with relational databases like MySQL, Postgres, SQL servers, and Oracle DB. So these are the examples of SQL. And data is stored in a table with rows and columns. So okay, that all fine. What is database? So these tables are stored in a particular container. That container here we have a where we call it as a database. Okay. So what does SQL stands for? We know that is structured query language. And then next, what is the question? What is the primary purpose of SQL? So it is used to interact with the relational databases. And then next, in which type of database is SQL primarily used? In relational databases, the SQL is primarily used to interact with it and perform the required queries or operations on a table. And then what is the actual definition of relational database? So it is a collection of information that organize data in a predefined relations where data is stored in one or more tables or of columns and rows, making it easy to see and understand how different data structures relate to each other. Which of the following is a relational database? MongoDB, MySQL, Neo4j, Cassandra. If you follow the previous slides clearly, then you can answer this. The correct option is B, that is MySQL. MySQL is a relational database, whereas MongoDB and Neo4j are NoSQL database. So which command is used to create a table in SQL? So create table, make table, new table, table create. So correct option is A, that is a create table is a correct sentence to define a new table. So before creating a new table, what we have to create is a new database. And then after creating a database, we have to activate it. And after that, you have to perform the operations on a tables like creating a table, inserting into the table, and updating or deleting the tables in that particular database. How do we do that? See here, for creating a database. So create database or and then followed by database name and semicolon. This commands create a new database named company. A database is a container to store and organize your data. That is, it store all your tables in this container. Select the database. So use company, which means use followed by database name. This command selects the company database, makes it active database for the subsequent operations, which means after querying this particular query, you will be after you will be performing any of the queries, then all those queries are reflected in this particular database. Okay, you must select a database to work within it. So these are the queries that I queried, and this is the output that you will be getting. And next, so after creating a database, now you will be creating a table. So this is a command that is used to create a table. Here we are simply using a create table employee name of the table and four attributes that I used and a primary key. What is this primary key? We will be explaining in the next videos. For now, l- let you remember to have a unique entries of the records. We are using this primary key. Okay, and then this is the complete description about this table. The table name is employee in a company database and having the four attributes. And after the salary, if you see here 10 comma 2, so this is for the precision that we use. And to check if the table is created or not, we will be using a command that is a DAC, which describes the table. Okay, view schema of the table. Explanation is display the structure of the employee table, including column name, data type, nullability, keys, and default values. Okay, and the next, which SQL command is used to insert data? Insert, update, select, delete. Correct option is A, that is insert. So this insert statement insert data into a database. Data table, database table. So this is the command or this is the query which we use to insert the data into the table. Here we are inserting this data into this particular columns into this particular table. And so if you can see the detailed description here, and this is the output that you will be getting whenever you fire this query. If you would like to add multiple values or multiple records at a time, you can use like this. So it saves your time and redundancy. And the next, what does this star symbol represent in a select query? So we know that to retrieve the data from the table, we use command called select. But in order to get the certain number of or certain columns, we will specify the columns after select like that. But if you would like to get all the columns from the table, then we will be using this star. So here if you see all the columns in the table, the star symbol selects all the columns from the specified table. So what is the result of the following query? So from the continuation, if you fire this query, we will be getting the output as is. So we have entered three records into our table after creation. So this will be inserted in the table, and we will be getting this on firing select star from employee query. And which of the following SQL command is used to modify existing data in a table? Insert, update, select, delete. Option B, update. Reason, the update command modifies existing rows in a table while alter changes the table structure. You have to be careful with the alter and update. Alter deals with the structure of modifying structure of the table, whereas update is used to modify the or update values of the record data of the table. Okay, so if you would like to change salary of a employee 1 from 75,000 to 80,000, we will be using this query. Update command is always used with where and followed by a condition. So this modifies the salary of an employee with employee ID 1 to 80,000. Okay, then next, alter. This alter command modifies the structure of the table. Here we can do is add a new column, modify existing column, as well as drop a column. So add a new column. We can add a new column to a table by using this alter command, alter table employee, add new column, that what you would like to add. So this adds a new column to your employee table and modify existing column. So we can also modify existing table. So in the previous we have here in the decimal 10 comma 2, right? Now for the more precisions we were adding 10 comma, sorry, 12 comma 2. So these type of changes that also can be done by using this alter command. And later then we can drop a single column by using a alter command like this: alter table employee drop column and column name followed by that, so which removes the column that we specified here. And then next, what are the differences between alter and update? So purpose of alter is to modify the structure of the schema of a table, whereas update is used to modify the data stored in a table. Scope. What is scope? Affects of alter. Affects the table structure, not the data within the table. Whereas scope of update is affects the data in a specific row or column within a table. Operation type of alter is a DDL, whereas operation type of the update is DML. Example for this is add, modify, delete commands and constraints that can be done by this alter command, whereas the update is used to change the specific values in a row of a table. And then next commands that is related to the alter is add, drop, modify, rename, alter column. And whereas for the update is set with contains using conditions using where. Then next, delete. Remove the specific rows from the table. Delete, or if you would like to remove specific row from the table, then we make use of this delete command. If you would like to delete all the data from a table, then we can also use this command delete from the employee, which removes all the data, which means all the records from the table, but the structure of the table does not be changed. If you would like to delete even the structure of the table, then we make use of this drop command. So by using this drop command, it directly removes or even your data as well as your structure of the table, and this change cannot be undone. So make sure you use this command with caution. And what are the differences between the delete and drop? So purpose of drop is to permanently remove the entire database objects like the tables or views from the databases. What about the delete? So delete removes the specific rows of or all the rows from a table while keeping the table structure intact, which means do not disturb. Operation type of the drop is DDL and operation type of the delete is DML. Scope is delete entire table and it's for that too permanently. Whereas scope is deletes only data of a table. Impact of a structure. So you can remove the table and schema, and impact is only the data of the table will be impacted by using this delete command. So condition is where clause that doesn't cannot be used. I mean, no need to use such conditions because it entirely um, deletes the table. So drop is directly used normally, whereas delete is used with conditions. If you see here, grant and revoke. So these are data control DCL and DCL. So here we will be having two commands, grant and revoke, which are permission give permission to users. So select grant, select insert on company.employee to username at the rate localhost. Let me explain you this clearly. So grant, select and insert, which means this user from this localhost is assigned two privileges, two permissions, which means this user can perform select and insert operation to this employee table of this particular database. Okay, if you would like to remove these privileges again to that users, you can revoke insert, which means select command he can query, but insert uh, permission now you are removing to this particular user. Okay, from this username you will be assigning one username and a local host, that where from where he can operate. Okay, this is all about basics of SQL and history of the SQL. So in the next videos we will see about more about in depth about the SQL. So thank you for watching. Please like, share and subscribe.